This is going to be a long video, and it's an informative one. It's about IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Not many people know who they are, not even some of the Home Office caseworkers or staff. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, is basically a powerful part of this structure of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, these days you hear about Iran quite often, and if you live in London, you will not be able to get away from the thousands of Iranians who every week campaign to make sure that IRGC is banned or proscribed. In other words, now why does this matter to us here in the UK? IRGC is not the military of Iran. It was the creation of Khomeini, so the very first leader who established the Islamic Republic of Iran, who was unfortunately supported at the time by France and even the UK government and the US. And when he went to Iran, one thing that he realized was that he didn't want to perhaps repeat the mistakes of the former king of Iran, the Shah. And instead of just relying on Iran's military, he came up with this idea to set up Sepah, which is called IRGC. It's a military organization, part of Iran, that has the goal of promoting the values of the Islamic Republic of Iran, of expanding it, of making all its objectives happen. It's also a very powerful organization in terms of the financial resources. So Sepah usually takes some sort of shares and stakes in the businesses in Iran. So in factories and in all sorts of businesses, even investment companies may be partly owned by Sepah. I've heard that people have been threatened by them that if they don't, for example, give some of their shares to the Sepah, that their business would be closed. They also have stakes in the oil industry and in all sorts of industries in Iran. They also have people who do quite a lot of their money laundering outside Iran. They're connected with Hezbollah, they're connected with the Houthis and with the all the other proxies of the Islamic Republic. Now, Sepah has two parts. There is an internal part, which is called Sepah, and there is an external part, which is called Quds. Now, Quds is the one is part of Sepah that actually does is political work and military work outside Iran. And we understand from various reports that they might be behind some of the terrorist activities in the UK as well. And we also understand that Sepah is also behind the recent massacre of Iranians inside Iran. Now, Iranians have been calling for Sepah to be banned. We know the army cannot be, but Sepah might be, because Sepah is kind of like, as I said, it's different from the military. They have their own intelligence service, they have their own prison system, they have their own courts, and their basis is not to defend Iran, but the basis is to defend the vision of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So the idea is not to protect necessarily the Iranian people, but to protect the Islamic ideology, that Islamic rule, that Islamic government that is ruling in Iran. Now, it was really interesting to hear fans of Tommy Robinson last weekend talking about Iran, and Tommy himself talked about Iran. Now, I know he's a controversial character. I'm not going to say whether I support him or not, but it's interesting that this issue is even raised by people like them in London. So they understand what threat the Islamic Republic poses to the UK and even IRGC perhaps. There's now a campaign. I've been asked to support that campaign, and whilst I don't know every member of that campaign group in person, I don't know the background, I accepted to help because I think it is important that we all work together to make sure that IRGC is banned in the UK. I mean, it's proscribed, it's considered as a terrorist organization. Now, what does that mean? So when that happens, that means then they can no longer do their money laundering. They can't invest in properties and assets in the UK. For example, we understand that the son of Khamenei, the son of the leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Mujtaba, who is currently the leader, but probably is dead. Who knows? Nobody has seen him, except that they have seen a picture of him next to his father on a wall, displaying the pictures of all those people who have been dead in Iran, which indicates that probably he's dead. But anyway, that's a different story. But even Mujtaba Khamenei has assets in the UK, which are worth about £50 million. Now again, Iranians have been talking about it, British citizens who understand and know the ins and outs of it, they've been talking about it as well. What can happen when Sepah is proscribed is that they can probably no longer be promoted. In the past, they managed to promote themselves quite easily, and even now. There was a community centre in London that had children visiting the centre and had pictures of Sepah, you know, and promotional material. There were complaints, and the community centre manager, I think, later apologized, and the school had to apologize as well because they basically exposed children to a terrorist group. But because they were not considered as a terrorist organization at the time, perhaps they managed easily to do what they did. A few weeks ago, we also saw another incident in London where there were a number of people outside number 10 raising the flag of Iran and chanting Magbad Israel, Magbad America. Now, did you understand what I said? Magbad Israel, Magbad America. Just think about it. That means death to America, death to Israel. Magbad Israel means death to Israel. Magbad America, death to America. Now, why is that important? The police was there, was just watching, but as you probably didn't understand what I just said, they didn't understand what was said. Some Iranian activists went to the police and said those people shouldn't be there, shouldn't be saying what they're saying and raising the flag, but they didn't translate the exact words, you know, the Magbad Israel, Magbad. As those people that talked to me and told me what they said to the police. So probably the police didn't see and, you know, make anything out of it. They didn't think this is terrible. There are a few people raising the flag of the Islamic Republic. This is democracy, and they've got pictures of their leader. That's all right. Let them do what they do. It's the ideology behind that is wrong. Now, raising a flag, whatever flag you want, you may say that that's okay. But if that flag has an ideology that is a threat to us, that drives activities that would be national security against us here in Britain, then that initial activity that doesn't seem to be something terrible or a crime should not be given a platform. It was only after the incident that we reported to the police that actually the chants were Magbad Israel, Magbad America. I wasn't there, but I saw a video and I raised it. Now, if Sepah had been proscribed, if IRGC had been proscribed or had been banned, probably a lot of people who were there wouldn't have been there. Probably those chants wouldn't have been said, you know, those words wouldn't have been uttered. And maybe some of them would have been in detention centers. Who knows? But that's important. The other thing is, quite a lot of members of the Sepah are, you know, they're rich. They're affluent people. In fact, today I saw a screenshot of a report about one of their members who used to be my classmate at King's College. Who would have thought about it, right? We were friends for a few months when I was studying. He was an Iranian, I was an Iranian, we were both of the same age. And now it transpires that he graduated, he became a professional, he worked in professional capacity, and he was doing some money laundering for IRGC, and now he's on the sanctions list, right? If IRGC was proscribed long ago, perhaps people who were connected with IRGC wouldn't have had a chance to come here to study, to become professionals, and then to work and to do money laundering and do all sorts of activities for IRGC, the very organization that is behind the massacre of 40,000 people over 2 days, of Iranians, you know, over 2 days. Innocent people who went out unarmed in the streets. So we are going to protect our universities by proscribing IRGC. We are going to protect our businesses by proscribing IRGC. We are going to protect our communities by proscribing IRGC, because you make sure that people who are connected to them can't study at our universities. They can't invest in our businesses. They can't grow businesses here. They can't get settled status and then British citizenship. And they can't influence our charities, our community centres, our children, our families, and they can't brainwash people to be their proxies. You know, that's really important. And then we will have a safer country, we will have a safer government, safer communities, safer everything. Anyway. So that's really, really important. I hope that he would pay more attention to this. Quite a number of MPs in the Parliament support the proscription of IRGC or the banning of it. A lot of Conservative MPs have been calling for it. The Prime Minister had pledged before being elected, before becoming a Prime Minister, that this would be the first thing that he would do when he would be elected, but he failed to do that for at least 2 years. Now he's saying that he's moving forward. Is it because someone from the Foreign Office has now been sacked? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I just wanted to create this video so that you understand why it is important that you make sure that your MP votes in the Parliament, and that pushes the Prime Minister or whoever replaces Keir Starmer to ensure that IRGC is banned. One thing about community safety and IRGC is that they have a network of criminal gangs in the UK. Now, some people may not believe it, some people may do. When they went out and chanted death to Israel and death to America, I wrote an article and I said that is an invitation for attacks against Israeli citizens in the UK and American citizens in the UK. And what we saw within 2 weeks of that, there was an invitation by the Iranian embassy for people to join their cause and be John Fadok, people who would sacrifice their life for their causes. And soon after, we saw the anti-Semitic attacks in London, not by Iranians, by people who are not Iranians. These are the criminal gangs that are recruited by IRGC, or at least this is what is reported, what's told to us, and there are ongoing investigations. So the way the criminal gang is believed to work is when IRGC or the Islamic Republic wants something to happen, they would then use the network of gangs to work in the UK. Now that circle should be cut. That capability should be paralyzed. Anyone who is a supporter of a terrorist organization should not be allowed to live in the UK, to have safer countries, right? I mean, we didn't allow Shamima Begum to come back to the UK because she's a threat to our national security. And in my view, that should also apply to anyone who's a supporter of IRGC as well. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You can send me an email and I would be happy to come and talk to you. But keep an eye on the Ban IRGC campaigns, lots of other campaigns as well, from Iranians in London and elsewhere to recognize IRGC as a terrorist organization in the UK, to expedite the legislation that is needed to make that happen, and to have safer communities.